Perfect. So, Rohit, welcome. How are you? Well, first of all, who are you and what do you do?
First of all, thank you for having me here.
Pleasure.
My name is Rohit Bansal. I am solution architect specialized in analytics.
Excellent.
And I have over 2 decades of experience in the data space.
Okay.
I don't know how many people know FoxPro, so I started with FoxPro.
Oh yeah, we're throwing it back today.
I've never used FoxPro. I've seen programs written in Pascal that use FoxPro as a database. But yeah, okay, wow. Yeah. Welcome, Rohit. And Rohit is going to talk to us today about something Redshift machine learning. How you can create, train, and deploy machine learning models using Amazon Redshift ML.
Yes.
Yep.
Cool.
Perfect. Coolio. So let's kick it off, I guess.
Yeah.
Rohit, you're going to share your screen a bit later on, so we don't have to do it immediately. But Rohit, tell us what's Redshift ML?
Yeah. Why do we want to use it?
Yeah, so first of all, a little bit about Redshift, right? So Redshift is a fully managed petabyte scale data warehouse, right? And we have a lot of data in there for tens of thousands of customers. Now, in order to do some machine learning on that, your customer has to take the data out to external tools, do machine learning, and bring it back and do that, right? But now what we want to try to do with Redshift ML is to give analysts, advanced analytics users or data scientists, even BI users to use that power of machine learning. So we are kind of democratizing ML for them, right? Okay. So right now you create a model so analysts can use them in warehouse. So that's really,
right. So we want to give access to machine learning. So do we want to give we want to give access
to learners of the machines.
No. We want to give access. We want to give machine learning access to data analysts. That's the case, right?
Right.
And since a data warehouse has a lot of data, that's the perfect place to use it, right?
Yep.
So then how did users used to do this before?
So before that, it's all data scientists doing it, or advanced analytics users doing it because they have some understanding
Python
of memory.
Notebooks and like taking that out and doing all like the feature engineering themselves, all the labeling themselves, all the training of the model themselves, running the the software to do that, running the hardware to do that, all of those elements, right?
And the important thing is, it's in data warehouse. Analyst, anyone who knows SQL can use it. Right. They can create model in Redshift using ML. They can create the model. They can train the model and deploy it. Right. So the way it works underneath. Let me share my screen
so
there.
We'll bring up Rohit's screen right now. So I think Rohit, if you can go ahead and just share your screen like that, I'll bring it up like that. Boom. There we go.
Yep. So as you see, right. So how it's going to work is in Redshift, you're going to have a create model where the data resides. Underneath, it's going to call Redshift, Amazon Sagemaker, right? It's going to extract the data, run the machine learning there. It's going to train the model. Yeah.
Just really quickly for the audience, so they understand, could you tell us a little bit about what Amazon SageMaker is, and kind of maybe also explain like how data scientists used to have to do things, but then how SageMaker can help them out?
Right. So Amazon SageMaker is a machine learning service, right? So how data scientists are using it, they're querying data from data warehouse, they're querying data from data lakes, bring the data back into Amazon SageMaker, developing, train and deploying the models there, right? And that's how they use it today, right? But the hassle is they have to bring the data, right?
Yeah.
Once the model is generated, how analysts is going to use that, right? But with the Redshift ML, model is there, they can run the inference within the Redshift, right?
Beautiful.
Cool.
Yeah. So what I was trying to explain here, the data is extracted from Redshift. Using the Redshift Amazon SageMaker autopilot, the training is happening behind the scene, right? Once the model is trained, it is stored in Redshift again, and using the SageMaker Neo service, right? If you have to run the inference after that, so you can use it, Redshift ML. So like And then if you're using, let's take you're talking about the customer churn prediction, right? So you can just run a SQL query on that function, and you are able to generate the model, use the model.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And do you do this straight from Redshift, or is it done from through Sagemaker?
You do everything in Redshift.
In Redshift, okay.
For analysts, they don't need to worry about. Even for the data scientists, they don't really need to. So with the, I'm going to talk about some of the example of the create model, right? A statement that you can see if you are advanced users, you have an option to select, right? Which kind of algorithm you want to use it. What kind of objective, right? So there are different parameters that you can still be part of the create model statement that you can use it, right? So it is for everyone.
Really cool. Yeah, and I think it's also really cool because I know I have so many customers and people in general who are interested in extending their data lake functionality and extending their data warehouse functionality to add an ML, but they know Redshift really well. So this is like a natural conclusion, right? Super convenient, easy way for them to actually operationalize those insights with Redshift ML.
Yeah. Well, thank you for bringing that. When you talk about data lake, the data, if you can query data from data lake in Redshift, right? If data is in your relation database like RDS, you can query that in Redshift ML. So you can use Redshift ML to query data from different sources and generate model on it, right? So that's another beauty of it.
Exactly, because I remember me doing SageMaker. You have to import vast amount of data somewhere and to use it like that. If this is just great, you can access it from multiple sources. Now, before you continue, just want to ask chat. Hello, chat. I also see Star Stack saying that they like the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're trying to do more content when it comes to tech on Twitch. Now, are we showing up under the right categories? I don't know. Maybe we didn't choose the right category, but if you go to twitch.tv/AWS, right here where you are, you should see a lot of wonderful live streams all over the place. So just make sure to follow on these things. Also, chat. In your organization, in your company, in the place you work at, are your analysts trained in machine learning? Are you using machine learning on that data? That's a great question.
Do you want to use machine
learning?
learning?
Do you want to use machine learning? So check that out as well. That could be a good idea to kind of stick around and find out. Good. All right. So, Rohit.
Yeah.
What are you going to show us next?
Yeah, so for today's demo, I have just one simple scenario where we are talking about the customer churn protection, right? So I'm going to be showing the command. It will be an example, right? So first, as part of developing model, you want to break the data into training and validation data, right? So this is just what I'm showing on the screen. This is very simple statement to break that, right? And next is a command. This is an example of a command where you can create a model with the customer churn. And as an analyst, you don't need to provide anything else other than the data. And with autopilot, SageMaker autopilot, it automatically determines which algorithm is going to solve this, able to use this, right? It can use it. So behind the scene, it uses. So now you can see this is the only thing that has been part of it, right?
Okay, cool. Okay.
And now, as you can see, and I can show, so this is the case where the model is generated, there's a customer churn, you're losing a customer over a quarter, right? How do we predict in the next quarter which customer can we're going to lose, right? So we can take an action now with the marketing data. Right.
Do something like reach out to that customer proactively instead, or send them a discount code or something that is like going to retain them as a customer.
Right. So I have a Redshift cluster, right? So in this cluster, this is just to show that here.
Rohit, can you just zoom in a bit on this one so we can see the text a bit nicer? So if you can just Command plus it.
Perfect.
There we go.
Money, yes.
Right. So this is the thing which I was showing earlier. This is the query to show, what is happening in the data, right? So month by month, how many customers are churned, and how many total customer service calls, right? If the customer service calls are increasing, that is when it's happening. And the next query that I am going to show is how, when I generate the create model, right? You can see the model, how it is generated, the status of it, and you can also see, what kind of algorithm has been used, right? So I created a model, and what is the query used? I'm going to go to the next tab just to show quickly. So it is using the churn level, which I say is gonna churn, which and it shows the model type, right? So I didn't provide what kind of model to use. Autopilot does it automatically. What kind of a problem? What is the objective? Like, so it all determines for you.
So it uses SageMaker Autopilot in this case, right?
Right,
okay,
right,
that is very cool.
Right, but now for if you are a data scientist and you want to use it, right? What kind of it? So I'm going to quickly show you the create model command that talks about different options.
Cool.
So you can do auto, right? That means you don't need to do anything.
Right.
It's going to do by itself, right? And if then you can have a different model type. Specify.
Cool.
Right? These are the different models available and what kind of problem you're trying to solve.
Just to stop to you for a sec here, because this kind of feeds into your question, into your comments. We have a question from ArmDSG. Can you create custom models in Redshift ML? What are the most common ML models implemented by customers?
We called it bring your model, BYOM.
BYOM, I love that.
So if you have created a model in SageMaker already, you can bring it here in Redshift ML, right? There's some condition that because Redshift is relational database, it expect input to be in the text in the CSV format, tabular format. Other than that, so
awesome.
You can do that, and I can show you the very simple command to elaborate on that, right?
Let's go for it.
So, this is a
BYOM. There it is.
BYOM, right? So what it needs is when you generate a model, you train a model in SageMaker. You just need to provide your endpoint, model inference endpoint, right?
Right.
And that's it. You're done.
Awesome.
It's already trained. It is remote inference, right? So difference is if you create a model in Redshift, then inference is local to Redshift, right?
Correct.
There is no cost associated with that.
Yeah, that's really
but
nice.
But now, if you're doing remote inference, that means you are calling SageMaker for that, right?
Okay, so
but it's still it is useful.
So when you deploy the model, it sits on SageMaker as like an inference endpoint, which you can then query. Is that the case?
In case of when you're bringing the model.
Oh, when you're
bringing your own model.
But if you are creating a model in Redshift, it stays in Redshift. It stays in Redshift.
Okay, and then you're charged accordingly, not for the underlying services. So only if you BYOM, then would you be charged for underlying SageMaker usage.
Yes,
exactly.
Right?
Okay, cool.
And the beauty is that you're already paying for Redshift, right? So there's no extra charge. Only point is when you are training the model, it is executing in SageMaker.
Right.
That's the only chart that you're doing it, right?
Okay.
And when the model is automatically generated within Redshift, is there a way to invoke that inference from outside? Does it have an inference endpoint if somebody wants to use it?
So as long as if you can query that Redshift right from anywhere, you can execute in that.
Okay, fair.
Right, basically, right? So let's take you are trying to. You are using Glue, right, for example, or you are using QuickSight. So in that case, you want to use that model for any purpose, you can directly use it, right? So that's where the BI user can use this model.
So what Navneet was talking to us before about ETL and Glue, I guess it can also be part of this entire adventure.
Yes, it could be part of it.
Yeah, that's really cool. So it's kind of like a lot of what we've been talking today is a really truly modernized serverless data lake with more insights, right? Adding on kind of that machine learning, that next phase of your business where you're really starting to predict things, right? And rather than being kind of postscriptive and reacting, it's proactive.
Right.
It's really cool.
Okay, can you continue with your demo? Is there something else?
Yeah. So I just wanted to show, so this is just how to show them, the model.
Right.
And this is how you can use it. I want to show a few things with the time, right? Just to show what is the accuracy of the model, right?
Okay.
So this is on the validation data, when the data is validated, right? We broke that. So now you can see this model is 99.17, how many decimals are accurate, right?
Yeah.
So this you can see it, how the accuracy of that model, right? So this is, you can see that. Now, other thing which I wanted to show quickly is about this is the page which I'm showing here it's readily available, right? Anyone wants to use it, we can post it as well. So anyone can go through that if they want to.
So there's I'll share the link on the workshop. So
Yep. And this is talking about, if you want to join this data with the marketing campaign data,
Yeah.
then you can, join with churn, with the marketing campaign data, and to determine, who are the target customers they should be talking.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that's, pretty much from my
Pretty much it, right?
side.
Like sometimes demoing like your redshifts and querying data, but this is basically it, right? This is how you can do it. And I like the fact because when I was growing up, data analysis was very a manual workload, right? So like to calculate the churn, you would have to have some, data analysts to really, give it a go and try to get the most information
Gets
out
out
of it.
the abacus.
Yeah, gets out the abacus.
Yes.
And now with like implementing machine learning models, you can literally have it sitting within Redshift, and thanks to SageMaker Autopilot, you don't have to worry about that.
Right.
But if you want to bring your own thing, you can, and you can get some nice, insightful data from Redshift on Redshift. So this is pretty cool, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I like that. Now, you mentioned we talked about cost, and when it comes to Redshift ML, is there any additional cost on top of Redshift?
So the cost on SageMaker is calculated based on the cells, right?
Okay.
How many records and how many attributes, right?
Okay.
So let's take you have a 10,000 records and you're running 5 column, it's 50,000 cells, right?
Right.
So usually, what I have seen, right, with customers for training the model,
Right.
it costs less than $20.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And how often do customers usually in this use case? How often do they retrain the model?
So they look at how much data have changed, right? If they see the data is changing very frequently, then they do it every week.
Okay.
Some do every couple of months. So they build some pipelines using the same thing, right? That you can build Lambda or other services to automate that. If the data is changing up to that percentage, right? They just rerun the model, retrain the model, and build some validation on top of it.
Very cool.
Speaking of that, there's a great question from Arm Diaz again. How can you schedule your pipeline to retrain your models? How do people do that? Is it like a step function, event bridge?
Yeah,
What is the approach people do?
Right, so it will be in that lab. There is a very small, but it is not exactly right. But can show you very quickly here is automate the prediction workflow.
Okay.
Right. So as soon as the data comes in, right, you run a model, and then you kick off Lambda function, right?
Okay.
And you run on Redshift to do that, right? Now, if you have to do that revalidation, right? In that case, you have to build step functions, right? Step function is one of the way to do that, including glue
Right.
to say, if that much data is changed, let me kick off a model, right?
Right.
Generating a model, and then it stores that model.
Okay.
Cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
I guess, Rohit, couple of last thoughts, last things you would recommend to our audience, to Twitch, if they're starting or if they have data analysts who want to do some machine learning when it comes to data warehouses, what piece of advice would you give to them?
I would recommend you to all, check out the blogs, check out the links, right. that we have. That will give you a good insight to get you started. We also have a GitHub link where you have all the models, right? So there are sample models available that you can use. And I'm very excited about Redshift ML that will be so useful for the customers.
Excellent. So I've shared the GitHub link now, hopefully to all people there, so you should see it in the chat. Last question.
I have one joke though.
You have one joke?
Yes.
Oh. Everybody drop everything, please. He's got a joke.
Tell us the joke.
Because we use SQL for ML, right?
Okay.
So a SQL query walks into a bar and walks into a table and say, "Can I join you?"
We had a similar about NoSQL, so but yeah, it's can I just wonderful. Last question for you. You're our fellow Amazonian, and we love to improve our services and what we do. If you can push a button to remove, add, modify a feature on Redshift ML, what would it be?
We always improve things, right? We always look for it, right? I would look for probably including data drift, right?
Data drift.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
think a lot of customers, they look for data drift. If the data drifting, how could we automatically
Right.
do that?
Awesome.
But we always, it's the feedback that we
That's but
always
like
look
that's a
for
good
that.
thing. Like
That's- yeah.
and in chat, if you're using Redshift ML, what's the feature you would love to see in Redshift ML? If you are, so I think those are one of the things we want to pick up from you here on Twitch as well. So, but Rohit, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey there! Thanks for checking out this video. Remember to give it a like and share with your community. Then hit subscribe and the bell for all the latest content that will help you build on AWS.